Alright, putting the motor on the motor stand here. So, all this done right now. We can assemble it up from here. We'll find a way to get to that bolt. Alright. Motor's all mounted. Looks like we've got access to put the oil pump on later. So, you want to make sure everything turns over nice and freely. Like this. You want to look at the pinion shaft snout here and make sure it is not wobbling any. I don't know if you can see that, but you get up in there like that and you just spin it. If you see any wobbling, it's bad. Same on the sprocket shaft. This one doesn't stick out as much though, so gotta make sure it's spinning straight. That's your in play right there. So we got plenty of in play. We're not going to have a problem with that. See, we already previously done the crank seal in here, so that's all been glued in a long time ago. That's why we did it back then. So before you can put all your cams and stuff in here for real, you have to get your oil pump assembled up and time it. You have to time the pump. So I'll do that later because I still got to do some lifters and figure what we're going to do on that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put the oil pump gears on right now. So we already got the seal piece in there. So here's the spring. Goes on the back side of that. Here's our gear. Here's our other one. So we got a 4 spline, we got a fat one, and 3 narrows. So you have to figure out which way that goes in. It only fits one way in case you forget. So now I'm going to knock this in there with something. Usually use a big socket. It works pretty good. Take it to that point and it stops. Now you can hit on these lightly with a steel hammer and it won't affect the truing. If you hit on it pretty hard, it will affect it. Short, light taps. Okay, we're bottomed out in there. Nope, goes further. Thought it would. Probably bottomed out in here. Need a deep well socket. Deep well. Going on deep. There we go. It's the rest of the way. Okay, right now this is bottomed out in there. There, slide out a little bit of hand. So there's supposed to be a 300th offset between the gasket surface and the edge of that gear. That is where it should. That's where it's going to run up against the bushing. It rubs on this bushing right here. The load on the oil pump is shoving the gear outward, so it's going to naturally want to come out until it hits on the cover. So when you figure out your breather timing, you need to have that set in the correct spot. So you look up in there right now, and we're slightly under 300, but close. Give a slight pull. Be pretty close where it needs to be. So you measure between the face here and the gasket surface. So each one of these big fat lines here is 100 thousandths. So if you count off 3 of them, that's 300 thousandths. Pretty easy, huh? If you use a tape measure, it's called 5/16 of an inch. See, we're a little bit short, but we're close. Always like being a little bit further, because that way when you put the cam cover on there, you never know where the bushings are going to be. You don't want it to be tight. Sometimes you have to beat these on, they don't slide. This one here, it kind of moves lightly, but it's a nice, like a palm press fit right now. Basically, if you see it flush with the end of the shaft right here, you're probably on too far. You want to have a little bit of free play on the back side here. See, just a little bit. There you go. Now the way you change your oil pump timing here is you got to go in here and shave down the back of the gear over here. Shave the front of the gear, whatever, it has to move more toward the right. If you want to make it perfect. If you don't want to make it perfect, leave it alone. Usually it's not that damn important unless it's way off. Usually on a street bike it isn't that important. Race bike, a little bit more important. Okay, I always like to run the file across the gasket surface here and make sure there's no burrs. Get my file up where it's flat. Put your fingers right there to catch any debris. So when I was doing the crank, when I was lopping the gears in, I was banging the top of the case a little bit. So I know there's a little bit of debris up in there. High spots, not much, but it helps to double check. This will also show misalignment of cases, which is a bad thing also. Seems to be fairly straight and true. Okay. So the cases are slightly different. See how this one's high, this one's low? See how this one's high, that one's low. It's the opposite. These cases are slightly twisted. See, high spot on this side, high spot on the opposite side. That means they didn't quite line up just right. So banging on the case, I didn't hardly do any damage at all. So that's good. In the middle here, they're pretty close. The gasket will seal just fine. Sealer right there. Knock that off. Okay, so there you go. So I'm going to close this up a little bit so it won't be open for the week. Next week we hopefully will put the whole motor together. Maybe I got to find a screen that goes in there too and get that all put in there yet, which I don't have one here. At least not in front of me. These parts are all cleaned right now, so if I leave them out, I'll have to re-clean them. So if I put them in right now, they'll stay clean. Also allows me to keep the shims organized. I went to a lot of work to do the shimming, so it'd be nice if stuff stayed where it's supposed to be. Where'd my oil go? Okay, so we're going to use the oil because all the shimming is done. So throwing a little lubricant on here at this point. Doesn't hurt anything. Keep the shims from falling out if nothing else. This isn't final assembly yet, but hopefully one more time will be. But I know we gotta do that breather timing. Oh, wrong hole. Goes over there. These cams will be out at least one more time for sure. Okay. You can see all that lapping we did. We got everything clean, super clean. So, all done up. Okay, you got a thin washer and a thicker washer. It's a toss up on where you put the thin one. I'm going to put it toward the case. The brass bush is probably going to be more forgiving than the steel shaft will be. Be my guess anyway. Okay, timing marks. Crank over where it needs to be. Okay. Marks appear to be fairly lined up. Okay. Put our gasket up on there. So it's going to be off one more time at least. And we got this pretty well cleaned out last 4 washings. I think it's been cleaned like 6 times today already. Starting to get pretty clean. So that should just slide right on like that, pretty easy. It won't go on the dowels all the way, but it'll at least go over all the cams. See, the dowels will hold it out about 1/4 inch from the surface. Light tap. Puts it where it belongs. So, this has a front and a back tapper guide. The difference is where it's cut here. See how they're cut at 90 degrees to each other? Okay, this is the one that goes up on the intake right here. So, lifters go in line, not sideways. So if you put it in backwards, see how the lifter goes sideways? It's 90 degrees out. I actually did that once in a race motor. It didn't help the cam very much. We figured it out in mock-up, but we didn't mock it up with all the tension on everything. It put a gouge on the cam a little bit, even though it wasn't running. It left a mark. Okay, so that's all put together more or less so it won't get dirty. And we'll go ahead and lay the cylinders up on here too while we're at it. It keeps all the dirt out. You don't have an open motor. Open motors are bad. Things get in there. One customer told me he found a nickel in the motor once. Making a noise and half a nickel over in the cam cover. I think somebody didn't like you. Pretty sure it didn't come in through the oil tank. Almost looks like where it did this morning. When we started, it looked just like this. So next week, unless we have any issues, this one should be fully assembled. At least that's the plan. A multi-year project coming to near end. How many years this has been here? I think you said about 8. Takes a while to do a custom motor. All right, there we go. Ready for hibernation for another week. All right, we'll be back in another week. That's it for now.